Enough for us.
How much blues can you stand, even though we're a blues band?
As much as I could take.
I've had, I'm all blue. You know what? Even
All
this,
blues
the
out.
carpet
What is
is
this?
blue. The microphone is blue. What is this with this blue?
All blues.
Oh wait, I'm sorry.
All right, enough.
That's enough of it. We all know where it's
We
going.
all know what the blues are.
And
We're
where are we
here
going?
at Jam-ology in
We're going
in
to the
St.
four
Augustine.
chord. Okay, I did it. Now we can
All right,
continue.
now we can move on. We're at Jam-ology in St. Augustine, Florida.
What's the zip code here?
32080.
Yeah, just in case you're looking it up and you
84.
want to know
Okay,
more
look
about
it up.
You want to know more about Jam-ology, we're going to tell you everything you want to know.
Yeah. So, and we are Soul Pylot.
Yes, we are. With a Y.
And we're going to be here talking about music, all things music, anything. What
So we're
the
not going to be
strings we
talking
use.
about like fricassee or
No,
casserole. Well, we
not
could.
what we put in the gumbo. Well, maybe. I don't know.
Gumbo. Interesting
Gumbo.
you bring up
Gumbo.
gumbo. Interesting you bring up gumbo. What's this weekend?
I think it's something to do with New Orleans, right?
Soul Pylot is playing a big Mardi Gras event in St. Augustine, Florida for the Matasnas Bay Buccaneers.
Wow. Okay. Well,
And it's at Ann O'Malley's, and you should show up.
everybody should show up.
Everybody
But,
should show up.
but-
Well, I'm showing up. Are you showing
I'm
up?
going to be there. I'm
Good.
going to. Yeah, I
Okay.
think so. I'm not going to be dressed as a pirate. I don't think.
Well,
You know, a
But it-
swashbuckler.
yeah, swashbuckler. Exactly. You're going to walk the plank. Because you know what they say? What happens in Jonesboro stays in Jonesboro.
That's right. What happens in
That's
St. Augustine stays in St. Augustine.
That's right.
So
So what are we doing here? What are we here to?
What are we doing?
What are we here to prove that other people that
We're going
play
to
the
be doing
blues?
these broadcasts every Wednesday.
Right.
So we encourage everybody to tune in, talk music.
And write to us. I mean, there's going to be that little panel
Right.
on the side of the thing if it's streaming live.
And our
What do you
MC,
know?
Mike, who...
Mike Cilliers, Mr. Jam-ology himself.
Mr. Jam-ology himself.
Well, it's a pleasure being here with you guys today. And, hold on a second. I'm my technical producer alongside me.
And that would be Caleb
T-
who?
And that's Caleb Smith.
Smith.
And,
That's right.
That's not his
He's
real
our-
name. I don't buy it.
Yeah, I doubt that. That's his
forget
stage
it.
name.
Yeah,
well,
really.
His real name is just Caleb. That's his
That's right.
artist name.
That's right.
Is
He's
that,
our
is that what
TD.
it says on your driver's license? One name?
Just
You
Caleb.
mean
That's it.
like
He's like Sting.
The
What are you, like
Or
Rihanna?
Flea.
Beyonce? I mean, come on, man.
So anyway, we're going to be talking anything music, everything music, and you know whatever questions are asked of us, and we'll sit here and we'll jam, we'll make some music, and you can pick our brains or whatever's left of them.
And you know what? I was sort of half kidding about the fricassee and
And the
gumbo
gumbo.
joke, but you know what? Music relates to all of these things.
Without a doubt.
And when you think about it, and I'm sure this is overused, music is a gumbo, isn't it?
Yeah, but there's nothing that is so pigeonholed in anything. I mean, and we discussed this in the past. I mean, you look at rock and roll, is that Bruce Springsteen or Steely Dan or the Eagles or, you know, or Grand Funk Railroad or
Exactly.
is jazz Miles or is jazz, you know, Benny Goodman or
Well, you know
either
what?
good
I
or
got a
bad.
question for you. Would you say that when you're talking about the styles of music, was that? I don't think that was even invented by musicians, was it?
No.
It was invented by DJs. It was invented by critics. So when people tell you, like, you know, what kind of music do you play? Well, the way I like to describe it, and I just thought of this because it's you and I'm sitting here because now that we're working together and doing
Right.
this thing together, I'm thinking of all this cool stuff I didn't think of before. As long as it fits between here and
there,
here,
it
it's
works.
music.
That's
and
right,
it works.
all 12 notes. And the other thing
There's
is
more than 12, man.
well,
Count.
Well, I'm talking about it's all based on the same 12 notes. But you know, people ask, well, what do you play, rhythm and blues? Well, you know, we all think that as an image, but it's not. It's songs that are based on blues changes and rhythm changes, and rhythm is Gershwin, and blues changes are what was derived from the field hollers and the Afro-American.
Absolutely.
Well-
Because what you were talking about with rhythm and blues at one time were known as race music and
Right.
race records. So you would have a song, one of the most popular songs in the world is Hound Dog. Well,
Right? Yeah.
recorded by
Elvis at one
Presley.
point,
but
it
who
was
recorded
way
it
earlier.
first? Who?
I used to know that. I don't remember.
Big Mama Thornton
That's
recorded
right.
it first. And guess what? It had different lyrics.
Different lyrics,
And
and
if
it
you
was
want to hear,
slow.
right, it was sort of like a mambo.
Right,
And if
right.
you want to hear one of the coolest versions of it, the last album that Robert Palmer did before he died is a record called Drive. And it's some of the best blues I have ever heard in my life. It came out about 2003, and he came out with this version of Hound Dog that is so awesome that I hate to sound like a kid in college here, but it is awesome.
Well, I mean, if you look at everybody that's even out now, you should peel back the onion and find out who their influences were, and you'll find out that their influences are deeply rooted in blues and in early stuff. But everybody thinks that, as did I growing up, that the song was just invented. But many times it's been done a number of ways.
Yeah, like Justin Hayward from the Moody Blues. Everybody know who the Moody Blues is? Of course not. Anyway, so the Moody Blues is one of my wife's favorite bands, and Justin Hayward is one of their composers. And one of the coolest things about we've been on a bunch of Moody Blues events. He's what do you? Yeah, Mike. Who's not looking right?
I was just saying in the conversation.
Yes.
Yeah.
I got to look at him.
You got to look at him. You can't keep
Jesus.
looking at us over here. I know we're better looking than Russ over there, but
Yeah, we
you
more
keep-
talking
you gotta
with
look
each
at
other. But go ahead.
Jeff.
Okay, so that's my mistake.
No, that's gonna be my mistake too because I want to look over there.
So anyway, so Justin Hayward is performing on cruises that we've been on. Like I said, my wife Daryl is one of the
I
biggest.
just spotted something where he sang standards
Well, not only did he sing standards,
with a big
but
band on YouTube.
he comes out. He monster.
Yeah.
So, but not only that, he comes out on, and he talks about this in his solo shows all the time. Comes out with just his guitar. So what does he start playing? Heartbeat, why do you flip when my baby... That's a Buddy Holly song.
Yep.
And he is one of the biggest Buddy Holly people in the world. So whoever thought that a guy like that would come out with Tuesday afternoon? But you know what? Like you said, it's all the same 12 notes.
It's all the same 12 notes, and it's just one of my favorite composers, I guess within recent decades, is Sting.
He's got a
and he
long
was a
jazz lineage.
Big time, long time jazz. That's where he got his name. Supposedly, they wore in a jazz group yellow and black sweaters, and some guy said you look like a bee, so I'm going to call you Sting, and it stuck.
Well,
so,
I'll tell you something interesting about Sting. Also, years ago in New York, I did a gig with Shirley Bassey. Mm-hmm. Goldfinger, that one, also produced by George Martin. Mm-hmm. But the reason I'm telling you this is that her pianist was a very, very high-profile pianist in England named David Hartley, who, her conductor was, I think, Michael Tommaso, and this pianist was David Hartley. How does this apply to Sting? There was a movie done in 1996 called Leaving Las Vegas.
Oh, no. Okay. All right.
And Sting is singing it's all standards.
I heard that.
It's
Yeah.
My One and Only Love.
Yep.
It's Come Rain or Come Shine. And David Hartley, this piano player I just mentioned, is the pianist on this movie score, which was produced by and directed by, I love this part of it, Mike Figgis, who produced and directed the movie, is a jazz trumpet player.
Oh, I know that.
And I mean, there's so much deep. I mean, to me, part of what we do here and part of what makes me want to play any song is the deep dive into the song. And you, as a video editor, will appreciate the fact that it was all shot on 16 millimeter.
Right. Yeah.
One of the biggest Oscar-winning movies for the effect, because they knew what they wanted on a visual level as much as, if not more so, than on a musical level.
Right. I mean, I think the fact that we are, our roots are in blues and jazz allows us, or gives us the freedom to deep dive into everything.
Well, it gives us the vocabulary, for one thing.
It gives us, we have enough colors on our palette to either withhold colors or slam them all on the canvas.
Right, because here's what we did when we were little kids. We all saw Hendrix. We all saw Clapton. And when we were 12 and 13 and 14, we didn't know what it was other than the fact that we thought it was the greatest thing in the world. It was only later, after we started learning the vocabulary
Right.
of this instrument, that music, college, Mr. Berkeley professor, that it all, now you have a nomenclature of why you like Sunshine of Your Love so much, what Purple Haze is, what is,
Or well, it also gives us the opportunity to hijack everything.
well, okay. But
So, yeah. So now
what
you
is
got
that? It's a tritone.
Tritone, right?
It's the beginning of Purple Haze,
Right.
but it's a tritone.
Right.
Which is a diminished fifth or an augmented
right.
fourth. So
No, it's all
to me,
yeah,
it's
right.
more fun. To me, it's more fun doing it this way. After already loving it, and when I go revisit it, it just
Oh well, yeah.
makes
Now
it even
you
more
see it
meaningful
from a
to me.
different window.
Right.
You see it out of a different window. When back then you were kind of like, okay, it's this, But now, I mean, I don't know. I see everything as all one now. So it's no longer.
Well, because you're right,
It's no
it is.
longer. It is all one. It is all one. Whether you're playing and I also feel that the American Songbook did not end when Gershwin passed on. The American Songbook continues. It just continues.
Well, you know what about the American Songbook that always was interesting to me is that, let's say there's 10,000 songs, just for round numbers in the American Songbook. 110,000 songs were written that were not good enough to get published
Right.
or finished. Back in the day in the Brill Building, which was on
been there
1619
many
Broadway
times.
in New York, it was a building filled with music publishers, composers,
Writers. Yeah, that's
writers, all of this stuff. I mean,
That's
people,
where the likes of Neil Diamond and Carole King hung
and Neil
out.
Sedaka,
Neil
everybody,
Sedaka,
all
right.
kinds of people were in there. And there were song pluggers trying to get their songs published, and they just didn't have the stuff.
Yeah, right.
And you might see some of those things, like, everybody knows what My Funny Valentine is, but there's songs like movies like in The Incredible Mr. Limpet with the Don Knotts, that you've got songs by some of these big writers like
Well, I
Sammy
mean,
Fain,
people-
and nobody knows what these songs are.
Well, I mean, this song. All right, where did that come from?
Victor Young.
And what movie?
I'm guessing it was the title movie of the same name as the song. Would that be correct?
Well, it was a mystery movie with Ray Milland called The Uninvited, and all you hear in the background is
Wow.
yeah, and Stella by Starlight is one of the most sought after jazz tunes.
Okay,
there is.
Mr. Trivia. What other movie did that appear in? What huge
I have no
movie
idea.
from 1963 did this appear?
I am far from
in?
Mr. Trivia, but you got me beat on that. Go ahead.
The Nutty Professor.
That was in The Nutty Professor.
Yes,
Stella
it
by
was.
Starlight was in.
Well,
okay.
sure, because the lead female character with was it Connie? What? No, Stella
Connie
Stevens.
Stella Stevens. Okay.
A former girlfriend and wife of Bob Kulick, by the
Okay.
way, the great guitar player who played with on sessions for Kiss and all kinds of
Right.
people. Brother of Bruce Kulick, my old college buddy. But Stella by Starlight, that character was named Stella, the female.
so there you go.
always heard Stella by Starlight as underscore in
But
this
that's
movie.
if you look up YouTube and type in The Uninvited, Ray Milland, and it's about a ghost, and every time the ghost appears, you hear.
Right, and if you also type in The Uninvited, you'll see us, because we're inviting ourselves into your home, and we're not necessarily invited. So,
Mike, Mike, we have any questions, Mike?
hey, yeah, have we had
Mike,
enough of
we have any
ourselves
questions?
yet?
We got a few more moments, and
We got any questions? Nobody
This is-
sent any
this is-
questions?
This is good
any
shit,
questions
man.
that come to mind that the audience would like you? There's that song that Benny King did, Russ, and then thereafter you're talking about Sting a bit earlier. That,
Oh, well,
you're
earlier we
this,
were talking about, again, we're talking about common chord progressions that just appear in American music.
You like this one?
Yeah, that's the one that Stand By Me, right? But then it's very similar if you...
Well,
if
it's
you-
not Stella by Starlight.
Well, it's not Stella by Starlight, but if you change the feel, you have this. So if I am so bold, has come, and the land is dark, and the moon is the only light we see. Every breath you take, every move you make, everything you take. Stand by me, stand by me, stand by me. I think we've proved our point. Common chord progressions.
Yeah, it's all between here and here.
Right, or here and here.
But you know, it's a common thing, and I think what I've seen you do that I really love is that you can sing 5 songs in a row, and even though the
Not
people
well, but I sing.
it doesn't make any difference. It is well. You know why it's well? Because you're plugged into the lyrics, and people are responding to it either by dancing, which is nothing wrong with playing. You know, I mean, back in the 40s, 50s, 60s, they used to refer to a lot of jazz as dance music.
Right. And it was. If you
And
look
it
at
was
old,
dance music.
It was
There's
dance
nothing.
music.
As
No
a
one
matter of-
stood still. It's just that it became, and I don't, and this is only, through word of mouth, that it got to a point where jazz music became the American classical music, and there was times, or at least said to me by a number of people, and I don't know if it's true or not, but there got to a point where people like Charlie Mingus didn't even want ice in the glasses because they didn't want to hear the jingle, 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 because they wanted everybody to sit back and listen, as opposed to feel the music and get up and move.
Well, when I was playing with Jerry Mulligan, we were doing a concert in Iowa, and he got very upset because of the sound of the relays in the fluorescent lights.
Oh, so
he even went out on it to the
but,
crew
but
over
George
the mic.
Benson said to me many times that people aren't tapping their feet, which was told to him by Jack McDuff, his first boss,
Who was Jack McDuff?
the famous organ player.
Well, tell them.
Well, I'm not talking to them. I'm talking to you.
Well, I know who it is,
well.
but would there be Mike? Type in who's Jack McDuff?
Who's Jack McDuff?
Or somebody pipe in and go, who's Jack McDuff?
Who's that? Yeah, someone. So and Jack said to him, if people aren't tapping their feet, you ain't doing that job. And that's true.
Right, and also to that point, there's a famous story on 52nd Street where when Charlie Parker, the famous alto saxophone player, showed up, that, he was redefining the instrument and playing jazz and writing his own heads on
standard changes.
On standard, like Donna Lee is based on Back Home in Indiana,
Right.
and Groovin' High by Dizzy Gillespie is based on Whisperin',
Right.
an old song. But then all of a sudden, somebody on a bandstand somewhere without Bird, Charlie Parker being there, wanted to play Slow Boat to China. Slow Boat to China? I'm not going to play that commercial piece of crap.
Right.
Until Bird started playing it.
Oh, of course.
And next thing you know,
but think about it. Back then, they were playing or improvising on the pop songs of their day. No different than us improvising over, a Stevie Wonder tune, or or for that matter, I'm trying to think of a more current person, a Taylor Swift tune. You want to hijack that, but it was no different. They just would do it after hours at house parties.
Okay, what would you say is one of the most commercial rock songs, bubblegum songs that ever was? Just off the top of your head. Which is the one that comes to your head?
I don't have one.
Sugar.
Oh yeah, without a doubt.
Yeah, but who else recorded it?
I have no idea.
Wilson Pickett recorded it.
Oh, okay. Well,
So
then
all of
there
a
you
sudden
go.
it brings another air
Right.
of...
Now all of a sudden
what do
it's
you
a
know about
soulful
that?
tune.
To-
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
It's a soulful.
Exactly.
Well, look.
Doesn't
Whitney
necessarily mean
Houston
that it was written by...
Whitney Houston doing a Dolly Parton tune.
Well,
Okay.
and because
I
of
mean-
her sheer power
And
redefined
intensity
what
and-
the song
and
is
group,
like.
right. It
Like
took
we
it
both
from
know a
one.
bass player up north that would only play that version of it, wouldn't they?
Right. Yep. Yes, we do.
Not that the song. I mean, if you ever listen to Dolly Parton,
Oh, it's a great version as well.
Haunting.
It's a great version as well.
The same person who wrote that also wrote Jolene.
Right.
It's like, Jesus
Right.
Christ.
No, I mean, it's,
you're
you
just
know-
not aware of what the firepower and the talent level
Right.
is just
Right.
because somebody has big hair and,
Well, or is
chooses to dress a certain
pigeonholed
way.
to be a country artist.
Absolutely.
And a lot of people aren't listening to country, but don't realize a great song's a great song.
Right. And Ray Charles was one of the people
Right.
that broke that barrier.
Right, exactly. And look, we do the tune Hallelujah all the time. I robbed that from listening to Ray and listening to Jerry Reed.
All right, but ask me which version I heard first as a 17-year-old.
I have no idea.
Humble Pie.
Humble Pie did Hallelujah. I
Humble
Just Love Her So.
Pie
Wow.
recorded it. Yeah, it started out.
Let me tell you about a gal. Wow.
Who was the lead guitarist in Humble Pie?
I want to say Peter Frampton.
You were correct.
Wow.
Who was the lead singer in Humble Pie?
It was
Steve Marriott from the Small Faces.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that.
Ichiku Park, this guy,
Right.
that guy. So
This guy,
again,
you don't forget anything.
Why are we going through all of this to illustrate how music tentacles are everywhere?
Everywhere. Doesn't matter.
And us as musicians and composers and players and teachers, it's our job to share all of this, for
Absolutely.
lack of a better word, non-essential information with you. Because
Well,
it is essential.
And we're going to be here every Wednesday to do it.
That's right. And everything I know about every song, as much as I can, makes me play the song better.
Without a doubt.
Here's one of the first things that... Are we done? So one of the first things that ever happened to me when I started getting interested in all this... You remember the band Bread?
Yes.
You know, if a picture paints 1,000 words.
Right.
So one of their big hits in 1972 was, I would give everything I own.
Yep, I remember it.
Just to have you back again.
Great song.
Thought it was a love song. Guess what it is? David Gates wrote that song about his father.
Oh, wow.
Now sing the lyric to yourself. I would give everything I own just to have you back again.
Wow.
Whole
Well,
of the
that's
song,
like,
isn't it?
Have I Told You Lately That I Love You is written for, for the higher powers. It's not a love song, even though we used it at Million Weddings as people's first dance. But it's not. Van Morrison wrote that as a thing to praise God or praise the universe.
And I got the real deal. I read about What Spirit in the Sky by Norman Greenbaum.